NICU time and recovery. A lot of people, or I should say a lot of your children, have had time in the NICU. Please, 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 my webinar is tomorrow talking about what happens in the NICU and how it can affect your development. The biggest misconception that people have with development issues, because again, especially on the Zooms I get, but how did this happen? How did this happen? And I'm like, well, it doesn't really matter, because this is where we're at now, depending on where your child is with their age, how they're organizing movements. That's what you really need to know. But at the same time, let's prevent a lot of development issues. I don't think people understand that, a successful birth is a child that goes home alive. It doesn't matter if they're on a trach, life support, or whatever. If they've left the hospital, it's a successful birth. And so lots of times people are hearing, especially after NICU time. Now, I put up the red flags 2 days or more in the NICU. I can tell you right now, you're most likely going to have some kind of issues with delays. And a lot can be prevented, because a medical procedure should not turn into a development issue if it's caught early enough. And so I'm reviewing that tomorrow in my free webinar. So take the time, learn it, even if your child's 15, if they've spent time in the NICU. A lot of times people just assume that maybe it's a side effect of autism or CP and so forth, and they don't realize that it was probably due to a medical complication that might have happened, like intubation or even an IV. So that's tomorrow's webinar. If you need the webinar schedule, it's right on the front page of Movement Lesson Academy, or put your email in down below, or and just let us know, and we'll sign you up for the full webinar schedule for 2023. It's jammed packed with the parent workshop, as well as topics like the NICU time and atypical development, and going over the steps that might have gotten into play from NICU time. So I'll see you tomorrow morning at the webinar. And we'll be covering this more as well in the Reflex course, just for those of you that are interested in that. And I should have the sign up page for that either today or by tomorrow at the latest. Thank you.